Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford at studio this afternoon around 1 o'clock as we're getting started today. Former Ole Miss quarterback Romero Miller joins us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline here.
Hang tight.
A little bit.
Just start that. We'll start that again for the recording standpoint. I hit the button and it did not go, and I noticed it wasn't moving. So go again.
Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford at studio this afternoon around 1 o'clock as we're getting going today. Romero Miller joins us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. We'll talk to him here in a little bit. It's a pre-recorded interview, but you'll get it in the stream. We've got it from Zoom, switched on over, and if you're in the podcast form, you won't know that it's not live. I talked to Romero about Ole Miss's football season, Matt Corral, a couple different things from his career, as well as some NFL playoffs. We talked a pretty good bit of Saints and Bears coming up on Sunday afternoon, 3:40. Obviously, Romero and I both Saints fans, so we discussed that a little bit. So again, Rafters Music and Food Hotline coming up with Romero Miller in a bit, and the podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Lunch specials, $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drink. Also, download and use the Speed Pass Plus app. You can use it. You can be efficient right there at the pump. Get on with your day as fast as possible with the Blue Sky locations throughout Mississippi, including the Oxford Exxon, because you earn points, and when you earn points, you save money there with the Oxford Exxon. Again, coming from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. Give my friend Corey Clark a call, 662-257-1900. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. Shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, but I recommend that you do. Let's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guests, including Romero Miller, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and in New Albany. Burgers, po' boys. There's been a lot of po' boy discussion on the board. Burgers, po' boys, shrimp, appetizers, drink specials, great beer selection, all of that at Rafters Music and Food. Be a great place to watch Ole Miss, South Carolina on Wednesday night at 5 o'clock. A great place to watch NFL playoffs as well. All of that at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and in New Albany.
Yeah, I mean, it really did. It took off with a couple different threads on the board, mostly discussing mayonnaise. And I will break in real quick as we start the show to say I get that it makes no sense to a lot of people, but I do feel like there's a difference between straight mayonnaise and a glob versus a mayonnaise-based sauce. I don't know, maybe I'm the crazy one because I eat Thousand Island, I eat Remoulade, I eat some of those different mayonnaise-based things, but there's enough herbs and spices and other things to just make it palatable versus the big glob of Dukes sitting there on your ham sandwich as you're eating. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I never knew it was such a sensitive topic.
It's one of the more sensitive topics.
But it is.
Mayonnaise.
People get worked up about mayonnaise. If mayonnaise is on a sandwich, I will just go hungry.
Not my birthday. It's gonna be a while before we actually get to my actual birthday. We're still about 11 months away, something like that. So, singing the thread.
They're prepared for it.
Yeah, I'm not really on a diet either. I mean, I've realized that I have a bit of a carb intolerance, so I'm really trying to not eat too many carbs. But otherwise,
you also benefit from a camera angle. I noticed this with Caroline and Megan the other night. Okay. There's a camera angle that's helping you. You have lost weight, but the camera angle helps.
It's making me look smaller than maybe
your
I
camera
actually
is
am. Because it's going down
a little distance and is down. My camera is right here.
So you're getting like the jowls and everything over there versus.
I mean, I need to lose about 30 pounds, but there is a camera thing.
So yeah, it's also I've noticed that people must really know what they're talking about. Like I've always heard take the selfie down and not up because you're not getting all the stuff up under here and whatever. And then the darker clothes. Because my camera, for people that just listen to the podcast and never share a stream, you get more of down me a lot depending on what picture or whatever you have up. So I think the darker clothes make somewhat of a difference too sometimes. Because the first time this popped up, I was wearing a really dark gray shirt versus I typically wear pretty bright stuff. I wear a lot of pastels and a lot of blues and yellows and pinks and stuff. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
Ginger asked if I eat ranch. I really don't like ranch.
I don't like it at all.
It's not my thing at all. I could never have ranch the rest of my life and be perfectly fine.
Italian is my favorite. If they have anything, I can eat Thousand Island if I have to. I can do a vinaigrette. I don't love a lot of vinaigrettes, but if it's what's there, I'm not gonna bitch about it.
I like most
It's
vinaigrettes.
fine. Yeah.
Happy birthday to Dax Barron if it's indeed your birthday. If it is, happy birthday. If it's not, happy birthday anyway.
Yeah, why not? Sounds good. Ole Miss news, not a ton today. Ole Miss Auburn played tonight at 8 o'clock. I saw the Rebels were like a 7-point favorite or something like that in Vegas tonight.
Yeah, I called Jay, giving him a little heads up on a couple things I'd heard, talking about other things, and we ended up talking very briefly about the game. And Jay's convinced that Auburn is going to get steamrolled by Ole Miss tonight.
Is that based off some of Bruce and Kermit's history, or is he merely talking about today's game?
I think it's that deal where he's covering what at this point is an average team.
He sees their warts.
And I'm covering what at this point is an average team. And so I see the team that I cover, their warts. And I can't imagine the team that I cover steamrolling another team. And Jay is on the opposite foot. So we'll see.
Okay. What does Auburn have back from last year? What sort of matchup-wise, what does this look like tonight? You have no idea, do you?
They're just young.
Okay.
Truth is they don't have much back.
Yeah.
They're really athletic.
I knew they lost a good bit from last year's team.
They're
obviously.
athletic. They don't shoot it well. They shoot it fast. They've had some issues in transition. Ole Miss is going to try to speed the game up. Auburn would probably like to play some half court. Ole Miss's offense in the half court really bogs down, like to the point of it looking like globs of mayonnaise.
It does.
Yeah, just really slow.
Despite just the results from the last 3 games, that's the thing. I mean, eye test wise, Ole Miss just looks so bad offensively.
Well, the word that
There's no flow.
The word that people keep using in conversations with me is average. They just look there. They don't look good. They don't look bad. They're just there. I wrote a story last night based on the analytics. Many of you did not read it. They're doing the talking point thing of, well, we're just a couple of plays from 7-1. And I'm going to be honest, that's a dangerous thing to get into because that becomes the justification for, I'm just a few pounds from fitting in these pants. You know what I mean?
It lessens look, I mean, that's what it does. It lessens the goal. Or what, you know what I mean? Like you're not meeting the goal right now, and when you do that, you're basically saying, hey, it's all right. You know what I mean? It takes the edge off.
Yeah, we're close.
I get how it pumps up some teams and lets them kind of feel better about themselves, but sometimes you don't need to feel better about yourself.
No.
Hey, no, you got to get better. That's the answer here.
I mean, you don't want to overreact to a bad week and go, oh, my God, it's over. We suck. It's over. Everybody's going to get fired. We're all going to lose our scholarships. It's over. But you don't want to do the deal where you go, hey, we're really close. It's one of the things that I think people liked about Lane Kiffin this year. They played Alabama super close, and he could have taken a curtain call out on the 50-yard line, and the people would have stayed and cheered. Mm-hmm. Instead, he said, hey, that's not what we're here for. Now, at some point, that's rhetoric, and you got to win. But at some point, you got to say, hey, look. And Kermit sort of did say that. He said, we could be 7-1 with a couple plays, but if we were, we would still have some issues. Yeah.
It'd be a pretty smoke and mirror 7-1 right now, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody would be looking at this going, ooh, tournament team. I mean, they got to figure out which wings can play, which wings aren't going to play, and say to hell with it. This is that week. I think this is a week where you have to win both games. And if you do, I think this time next week we're having a conversation about, okay, well, now you have a chance to kind of get on a move here. But you got to do it. You're probably going to have to go 11-7 in the league, realistically. You're going to have to win these 2 games.
Old sir, you're 2-1. You lost the road game, won the home games, even though that's not the same deal.
Well, the loss to Alabama is not a big deal.
Looks better by the day.
It's not a big deal. They're good.
Bama routed Florida, right?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bama's beaten Ole Miss. And
I thought it was Florida.
Did they play last night?
I thought it was Florida last night.
Oh, I didn't watch.
I may be wrong, but that's what I thought.
We were filming the Parker Sheeran thing last night, and then we ended up having a big family conversation last night. We never turned the TV on.
Last night, 86-71 tied over the Gators.
Okay, so Alabama looks better and better by the minute.
Yeah.
That loss doesn't hurt. The Dayton loss up there doesn't hurt. The Wichita State loss at home hurts.
Yeah, that was stupid. That was bad.
But you're okay, but you got to win. You can't. You're not going to get in the tournament because you played a bunch of close games where you were a couple plays away. That's not going to do it. That's a proven fact.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go win games. And they got to win tonight, and they got to win on Saturday. And if they do, we'll start having a completely different conversation. And if they don't, it's going to be time to start having a completely different conversation about evaluation. And at the risk of pissing some people off, it's going to come down to you start talking about, is this the way this staff put together? Is that going to work? And some stuff like that. But it's too premature for that. I had several mailbag questions about that, and it's just too early.
Brian, do you follow basketball as closely as football? Where's your deal with that with the Tigers? Kind of curious.
I just think you got to get wing play. If you watch modern basketball, meaning now,
sure.
NBA, college, the teams that don't have dynamic wing play or don't have 3-and-D players struggle. Can you knock down a three? Can you extend a defense? Can you get up and down in transition? And as I wrote in the mailbag, those players are hard to find and they're expensive.
Everybody wants those guys.
Yeah.
No competition for those guys.
And so when you don't have them, and right now I'm not sure that Ole Miss does, you've got to compensate in other ways. And getting the damn thing bogged down into the half court doesn't work unless you are going to consistently go through Romello White. At which point, well, now something works. But in the second half the other day,
got away from it.
Wichita, they just completely abandoned Romello, and it affected him on the defensive end.
Yeah, I don't think they went through him at all the last 6-7 minutes of the game that I recall. It was just it was jump shot after jump shot after jump shot.
Got away from it, got reckless, and it cost them because they were in position to win that game.
Yeah, in good shape.
But they were reckless. Dumb fouls. Fouled a big going up for a dunk. Turned it into a three-point play. You're going to foul there. You got to foul. You got to hurt his feelings if you're going to foul there. So we'll see. I mean, look, there's a lot of talk about we're this and we're this and we're this. That's the public thing. I'm going to guess in private it was a little different. We'll see.
Yeah, tonight, 8 o'clock for Rebels and Tigers. What TV is that on?
SEC Network.
SEC Network.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What's the 6 o'clock game? I'll look in a minute.
I do not know.
Okay. Bigger news for a lot of Ole Miss fans yesterday. Jeff Lebby, Ole Miss announces a new contract for the Rebel offensive coordinator. I think a 2-year extension for him. Look, overcame some overtures, multiple ones, it appears. And huge for the program all around. It keeps him here. It lets Matt Corral have an offensive coordinator for the second year in a row for the first time during his career. Lebby, obviously one of the top young minds in college football. He's going to keep progressing. He's going to keep getting offers. He's going to be a head coach one day. Hell, he may be a head coach here one day. I don't know, but no, it was a big. It is as good of an offseason as Ole Miss is having right now. That was a big day and the continued momentum for the Rebels as they move forward.
Yeah, it was close for a little while. People will dispute that. It's okay. He had a lot to think about. And ultimately, he decided to stay at Ole Miss. He signed what I've been told for a little while is a very lucrative deal. Money's not the issue. Also today, there were some rumors about DJ Durkin. I worked on it. I've pretty much confirmed it to a place that I feel positive that DJ Durkin's not leaving. He's going to be the defensive coordinator. There's 2 spots open. I was told 7 to 10 days getting those spots filled.
The newest one of those being Blake Gideon, headed to Texas to work for Steve Sarkisian at his alma mater, for anybody who's missed that.
Yeah, we dropped the ball on that yesterday just because we already knew it. I think we knew it to such a degree that we forgot to keep talking about it. He's gone, so that there's a spot there. There's a spot on the defensive line. You could shake things up a little if you wanted to. There's some things they could do, but they've got some time. Today's the 6th. The recruiting period doesn't really start because you can do Zooms from – I don't know when you can do Zooms again. A couple weeks. I don't know.
It typically is right after the convention, but there is no convention, so I don't know what the period looks like this year.
So
now you probably would like to have a defensive line coach fairly soon because that's the position Tywan Malone plays. Probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, even though Partridge is his lead recruiter.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt. Frankly, they need Malone back on campus. He's going to take some visits here in the next few weeks, and Ole Miss, if they're going to get him, they need to be one of them.
How's that work?
They have to just come check out the school by themselves and whatever.
You literally can't go in the building.
I think can they not go in the building? They just can't meet, right? I'm semantics whatever, but
I don't know. I don't know how that works. But you literally cannot have.
You can't have in-person contact with them, and you can't set it up for them. They have to just do it through the school.
So it's got to be something that would be available to any other student coming in to look around.
That is the way I'm interpreting. Yeah, I think Malone's trying to do a lot of them in the same weekend grind. He's going to FSU on. I didn't know the 8th, but I knew soon, and I think he's trying to hit multiple schools all in a bunch there. So we'll know what's going on very, very soon as you see what he does and does not do. I think he's supposed to be hitting FSU and then maybe Tennessee and Ole Miss right after that together, I think. Something like that. So
I'm sure no one at any of those schools will bump into him.
Well, no, it's against the rules.
Right.
Hall monitors will make sure that's... Yeah, I think that's right. I think you literally just get to campus and FaceTime on the visit.
I thought I'd heard you can't even FaceTime on the visit.
Oh, really?
I could be wrong. I don't know. It's stupid. Who's policing this?
Well, no one. You have to report yourself. Matt Ball will be all over this.
Oh.
Guys, hey, whoa, back up.
I need to see all of your backlogs.
What's your Zoom look like? Location were you in? Gonna need you to airdrop me those files.
Clearing that phone every day.
Oh man, just on it.
Yes, I don't know. We'll see. I still think Malone to Ole Miss is likely.
You just got to visit. You don't want to be the one school he doesn't visit over the next 2 weeks.
No, that's true.
That's the deal. So see where that's at. Partridge done a really good job with him. He's the key to his recruitment. There's no doubt about that. I think if Partridge had taken another gig at some point, it would all be over, and you go ahead and mark Tywone Malone off the list. But that hasn't happened.
I bet it's going to be one hell of a coincidence when the hotel he stays at in Tuscaloosa, Knoxville, and Oxford, all three of them, the previous guest happened to leave money in a drawer. That is going to be amazing, that coincidence. How that happens. Never works out for me. You ever open one of the drawers, hotel room, and there's
next to the Gideon Bible.
There's a stack of hundreds right there.
Yeah.
For expenses and
typically
such.
Every time. You leave them in the mini fridge behind the vodka. Typically is where you put them in there. Some dealer was in there the night before, just forgot it. I mean, you know what? I mean, do you take it to the front desk? Do you use it? What do you do?
I don't know.
It's a real Sophie's choice.
Yeah, I think it's finders keepers at that point. It's cash. How are you going to track down cash to somebody?
It's marked.
It could be.
It could be marked.
The NCAA setting up some sort of a sting.
Hey. They got employees to send people to clothing stores.
NCAA is pretty COVID conscious. I doubt if they're
pretty tapped out.
Their people are probably not traveling right now.
I think the St. Elmo's budget's pretty low at the moment.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. I bet it's been a minute since some of those guys have had a shrimp cocktail.
No.
That was big news for the guys that cover college basketball. They're going to be there for 3 full weeks in Indy.
Oh, the whole deal.
Oh, man. All the shrimp cocktail.
We've made fun of them for so long, except we make fun of the NCAA, not really necessarily St. Elmo's, but at least half, if not more, of those sauces and seasonings have been good. So the cocktail sauce is great, and the seasoning is great.
I'm a pretty big fan of the cocktail sauce.
It's good.
I got to be honest. I'm about to order some more.
Yeah, I know. I was borrowing a spice from Neal a couple days ago, and it was like I saw the seasoning blend from St. Elmo's, and went, I'm going to pick some more of that up. It was all right on vegetables and everything else.
That's good stuff.
It was okay.
And the steak sauce is fantastic on chicken.
Yeah,
on grilled chicken.
Yeah. Now, don't get it anywhere near meat or anything like that, but probably okay on pork if you have something you don't mind throwing some.
Maybe so.
But yeah, chicken.
Grilled chicken, just a little salt and pepper. It is great on grilled chicken.
Okay.
Unbelievable, total game changer.
It's a little is it tart the word? Like there's a little bit of
Maybe so.
Yeah, there's just something in it.
I like it though. It's good.
Okay.
I'm a fan.
I still have not even tried the horseradish spread.
I had it.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you put on that? I put that on.
Some leftover beef tenderloin from Christmas just to
did you
try
really?
it. It was really good.
It was okay?
Oh, it was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's your St. Elmo's review for the day. If you'd like to get on, they sell all their little gift boxes and their spices and seasonings, whatnot. The cocktail sauce is on point. The seasoning is good on vegetables. You can do a little bit of everything there. So have at it. We'll talk to Romero Miller in a second. We'll go to him on the Raptors Music and Food Hotline. Before we do that, I'll tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. So you're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
It's getting cold outside. Now's a really good time to make sure your heating system is working, so you get in touch with our friends at Comer Heating and Air. They've got you covered. They're the name you can trust. They bring more than 50 years of professional HVAC experience to Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. Comer Heating and Air offering a special fall preventative maintenance agreement to make sure your heating system is running in tip-top shape. So get in touch with them at 662-801-1777 for all of your heating and cooling needs. That's Comer Heating and Air, 662-801-1777. We're also brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, and more. The Rogue has delivered fine men's clothing for more than 53 years. Their classic style, attention to detail, and commitment to excellent service continues to make The Rogue a special place to shop. Check them out at their website, therogue.com. You can follow them on Instagram as well, or you can visit them in person, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. They have some great lease deals as well. They've been with us for a long time. They'll take care of you as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
So now Romero Miller, Neal will be getting the scene ready for you guys in the stream, and then it'll be in the podcast form as well. Romero Miller on the Raptors Music and Food Hotline. Romero Miller now joining us on the Raptors Music and Food Hotline. Ro, good to talk to you. Been a little bit. You were down in Tampa for the Outback Bowl. You got to see your buddy Grant for a little bit. We'll talk about that, and probably a little Saints toward the end as well. But how was Christmas? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Just trying to start this new year, 2021, off better than 2020 for everybody. So we're excited about what's to come in the future, and let's keep going and get after it.
Yeah, you mentioned you went to Tampa, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk to you anyway. But I mean, you're a traveler. You're going all the time. How much was that cut into in 2020? Did you do much beforehand? Had you even been anywhere out of the state since March? I mean, what
No, March. I went out of town in March. I went to Jamaica, and then when COVID hit, they kind of shut me down to around September, the first weekend of. I think my first trip was when the Saints played at Vegas, so it was roughly September the 21st.
Okay.
So I guess for about 5 to 6 months, I was on lockdown just like everybody else, and then I started trying to get out a little bit. I think for myself, I had COVID, and I probably was the first one in Mississippi to have it because we got it in March, and I think we got it coming back or somewhere around the Jamaica trip, and so it kind of shut me down for a little bit, and then we was able to get back out a little bit afterwards.
So what was the NFL game like in Vegas? What was the crowd situation out there?
Vegas, they ended up they didn't let anybody in the entire year. They had a new stadium, and they said before they would let even one person in, they want to be sold out. So it was one of they announced where if we're gonna open a new stadium, we want this sucker jam packed. So I watched it in the casino I watched the game in the casino for the first time ever, and man, it was fun because you got with all the TV screens. Every place somebody was cheering because they either lost some money, they winning some money, or the team that they root for was having something good or bad to happen. So I tell people, if you never experienced a football Sunday in Vegas, man. It's a good sight to go watch.
Yeah, I think I've been in sport books for different things, MLB playoffs, a couple different things like that. But I think football Sunday and March Madness are the two where if you can get in there for one of those 2 days, you get to just people watch and watch the chaos for like 10, 12 hours all day long.
And Jason, I tell you, man, somebody started to holler, and I'm looking around at the TV trying to figure out what screen they're looking at to figure out what's going on. But, as a football junkie like myself, man, it was a good one.
Do you have to throw a few bills down just to be a little more invested in it since you're in there in the middle of everybody?
Well, I'm not a gambler, but anytime you go to Vegas and sports on, I'm always gonna bet on somebody at over under or the points or something like that.
What was Tampa like? When'd you go? How long were you there? What was sort of the game atmosphere in that place?
Man, I tell you, man, I left out Friday morning and talking about a rough flight because Thursday night was New Year. And you talk about being out to 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, didn't have to turn around and catch a 5:30 flight. That didn't feel good, but I was able to sleep. And, man, I tell you, Tampa's just a lovely town. I mean, the weather was 80 degrees-ish, so you walk around in shorts and you with your Ole Miss T-shirts on and stuff like that. So as a fan, I'm quite sure as a player, it was a good place. It was a good place to be playing in a bowl game, opposed to one we played in when it was probably the coldest game of my life up in Nashville.
Did you be honest with me? It's been so many years.
Yeah.
How upset were y'all when Nashville was the site in 2000? What was the mood there?
It was different. Let me say that. Like I said, it was just Chase was cold. I mean, we would have went to Florida, Miami, or somewhere like that, where it's nice, the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh man, let's go. But man, just think about walking out to that practice field in probably the coldest time that I've been in my life. It wasn't the best of experience, and they showed in how we played. But I remember looking on the sideline of West Virginia where they practice in that cold air all the time, and they on the sideline dancing and party like it didn't bother them, and we over there almost like to freeze our butts off. But like I said, it was a good experience, but it wasn't the way you want to end your career. But football stuff like that happens. You got to bounce back.
So what was what do you think the attendance was in Raymond James for the bowl game? I mean, what was it? What was the Ole Miss Indiana split? I mean, what was it kind of like in there?
Yeah, it seemed like I think Indiana had a little bit more people than Ole Miss, but it wasn't a bad showing whatsoever from us whatsoever. The game was shocking coming into the game. I didn't feel good about it, but the guys, they came out, and I mean, they was into it and showed in the way they played, and like I said, was able to get that win.
Was it? Yeah, I guess that's the thing. I mean, when you talk about, you weren't necessarily expecting a lot. Ole Miss had opt-outs, they had injury. Was it pure numbers? Was it because of, Indiana felt slighted and it felt like maybe they were the more motivated team for bowl games? How do you sort of factor that into bowl games when you're trying to figure out, how one's going to go?
I always say you got to figure out what team want to be there and what team don't. And, just by being there and listening to the Indiana fans, I mean, they was pumped up. The fan was like, man, I had one guy. It's kind of funny. I had one guy that Friday night was just talking so much crap to me, kept talking so much crap. And quite naturally, he was kind of wound up, had a couple of drinks in him. And after about 30 minutes of him talking to me, I said, dude, would you please leave me alone? I don't want to talk football no more. I'm out, we drinking, just having a good time. And it's funny because the next night I saw Grant at the same bar, and Grant was like, man, that's one of our biggest donors. And I'm like, oh Lord, Grant. I hope I didn't mess you up. But it was just funny though. But their fan was fired up, man. And I felt like their team was going to come out and be emotionally charged up. And not saying that they didn't, but like I said, the Rebels came out unexpectedly that I thought charged up and jumped out up on the front and just kept it going.
Yeah, Ole Miss had a couple weeks to prepare for it, but when you don't have Elijah and you don't have Kenny and you don't have Jerrion and you don't have Braylon and all the weapons that they were without, what's that like trying to game plan with all those guys, but also figure out, hey, how are we using everybody else? What plan are we putting in? We're getting all these guys in different roles. I mean, what was that like for the coaching staff for a couple weeks?
Well, coaches always like to preach the next man up. And players, you try to drill it in your head, the best that you can. Hey, you know what? Our guy's not here, but whoever else is their opportunity. Going into the game, man, I was excited because I feel like a game like this for Matt and for the younger receivers, to me, it was better than spring practice. You're able to go out there and play against a Big Ten opponent, Big Ten opponent, and not saying just any opponent. I mean, those guys, they're pretty good. And so I came into the game wanting to see Matt development and not allowing not relying on Elijah so much. Now it will force him to spread the ball around and make some of the younger guys step up, and that's what they did out there playing against Indiana.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Matt's maturation, the way he really didn't make a mistake the entire day. He kind of gave what they just gave him. He took shots when he could. I mean, what have you sort of seen from him this season as he's developed through his first year as a starter?
You know, man, I tweeted during the game, I just like his development and his growth because, you know, you go back to that Arkansas game and he had the gunslinger mentality. And, you know, I tweeted during the game, I said, Indiana game plan is to take away the bombs, make them go short. Then eventually we're going to be able to pop a big play. And just to see him just take what the defense give him, because like I said, the Arkansas game, he would have kept slinging that sucker around. And we know how that game ended for him. So it just shows his growth during the year, and hopefully going into the offseason, do the same thing going into next year.
What do you feel like his ceiling is? Is it more about raising the floor for him and getting rid of some of those mistakes? Is there another level up? Where do you sort of see him for next season?
Oh, without a doubt, I think he can become much better. You know, I was glad that we like Levy staying.
I think you're covering the speaker up.
Okay, so I'm glad Levy he's staying another year, so he got another year into the system. And so that's going to make him going into the spring, just knowing it's the same system. Like I said, you know, you're not relying on Elijah Moore next year. So it's going to make him go to read 1, 2, 3, 4. And, you know, even the Indiana game, I saw, you know, some times where he said, sit back, and you can see him going through his progressions. And once he made it through progression, you know, he looked up, it was his fourth, fifth receiver. So I look for next year for him to be better, probably the top quarterback coming back in the conference. And y'all know, just like me, if you got a quarterback any conference or any league, you got a chance. So next year, hopefully we got a chance.
Yeah, you mentioned it a little bit, but getting Levy back, just being in the same system from year 1 to year 2, is it almost some of just understanding, you know, exactly what's coming? Is it allow you to delve even deeper and become more of an expert on it? What are all the ways that he benefits from just having Levy and Kiffin both back for years?
Man, it helped y'all so much because I'm quite sure the first game of the year, Matt couldn't call a couple of plays. And I would imagine at the end of the year, Levy probably can just say out one word and Matt probably get rolled off the rest of his tongue. So you can just imagine next year, even if they want to go up tempo, you know, you can just say, Matt, hey, call your favorite play. And I'm quite sure Matt can go out there and call the favorite play and the guys will respond to it. So just the terminology, just having so many reps in spring ball and in fall ball, man, you can't beat that part of it.
If I'd have told you before the year 5-5 with a bowl win, would you have been think you were dreaming? Did you feel like that was doable? What do you think?
Probably I would have probably said 4, with a possibility of 5. I never thought we would have been 5-5 with a possibility of winning some more that we left on the table. But that goes with it, man. You just got to grow and you got to learn. And you know, I was just glad to see the guys fight, you know, to the end. You look around college football, a lot of teams gave up, but always guys, they didn't give up and they just kept fighting and was able to pull out some more wins and let some slip, but those are learning opportunities for us.
You know, I've known you for a long time. You've been invested in this program as long as I've known you. What's it sort of like with a lot of off-season momentum, the NCAA gone? I mean, it feels like in a lot of ways, I mean, this is 2013 or maybe 2008. I mean, it's been a long time since, you know, I kind of laugh about it. I said they're just a football team, but I mean that in a positive way. You don't have all that other crap going on around them. And I think that, you know, you're going to sell a lot of tickets if COVID gets out of here and, you know, to allow that and all these different stuff. I mean, is this kind of one of those things that's been a while for you as a supporter and a fan since it's felt like this going into an off season?
Well, you know, Chase, I've always said you can win at Ole Miss, but everybody got to be on the same page. Starting with the alumni, you can feel the energy around Lane and what he's doing, and quite naturally with the players, you can hear and you can see in their actions and how excited they are about the opportunity and playing for him. So right now, it just seems like everything is moving in the right direction, in the same direction from, you know, overall. And even you could tell that during recruiting. You know, these kids, and I'm throwing out a scenario, in Winona, Mississippi, you know, they're around Ole Miss alumni every day. And the last couple of years, the alumni probably didn't have too much good to say. But right now, if their kids coming out in those small towns like that, you know, the alumni talking up the university. So I would say you can win at Ole Miss with the all hands on deck. And right now, it just seems like all hands on deck, and just hopefully we can just keep it like that.
I was watching some highlights of some of your games. I've been running across some of Jevin's games from 08 and 09.
Yeah.
I know tempo's a lot of it, but how else are the offenses so different now in 2020? I mean, it looks like everything's more wide open and whatnot, but how would you sort of characterize how college offenses have evolved over that time?
I mean, it's totally different than when we played. These guys don't even know what a fullback is, and they don't even know what a tight end is lined up on a line of scrimmages anymore. But, you get to spread the ball out, man, as a quarterback. I mean, it's just a quarterback dream. I remember when Freeze, I went down when Freeze was hired, and he said this quarterback should go 70% passing. And I looked at him like, man, this is crazy. But then when I saw the offense and saw – how they spread the ball out in the short passing game and stuff like that, it makes sense to me. But, just when I played, man, if you was 55%, 60%, you a superstar, So just to see where it is now is totally different than what we played back in the day. These kids got it made it, and they just don't even know it.
Yeah, Corral throws for 3 or 320 or 340 or whatever, and that's just a typical day. We don't even necessarily talk about it a lot. I mean, when you were playing, what was a good day? 230, 250,
Yeah, I mean, 250 to 300. I mean, you like I say, you're all SEC if you average that, but now shoot, you averaging 250 to 300, you're sitting on the bench. But that just goes to show how much the game is changing and how much it's going to evolve over the next 10 to 15 years. I can't imagine it open up anymore, but whoever thought it would have been like this right here.
You don't think it'll regress back, though, do you? I mean, you don't think it changes the other way, do you?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. All it takes is one school or one coach to start doing something that's going to help them win. I don't think it'll go back to the option, but I can see a day where it becomes there are variation where a team will have more smash mouth in certain packages. Right now, the smash mouth that you see is all in shotgun and stuff like that. But I could see a day where maybe 3rd and 1 team bring the physicality back in it. But, I don't know. I'm not making $1 million or $2 million to figure it out.
Well, yeah, it's that deal where, if the defenses continue to change and maybe, they get a little smaller, a little faster, you do different things to adapt to the passing game, and suddenly some guy looks up and goes, hey, if we go smash mouth and we bring a fullback back, we've got an advantage just from a size standpoint. We've got this advantage. I mean, maybe there is some sort of schematic deal where it evolves back in that direction. I don't know. It was just something kind of hit me while we were talking.
Yeah.
So Louisville, as long as the schedule stays the same, they're going to open up in Atlanta for Louisville. I would think that becomes one of those big ones where all the oldest people get out. I mean, I could see a pretty celebratory atmosphere in that opener next year.
Well, I know I'll be there. Anytime Ole Miss travel, especially in a major city, where I can turn a vacation into a football game, I'm all for it. So if they play, I'm going to wear 78 to Interstate 20 all the way to Atlanta out, man.
Yeah, you don't mind getting out on the road a little bit, do you?
No, man, I don't. I mean, I look for a reason to get away. And I'll tell you, Chase, when I played football, no time when I was playing, I tell people, man, I probably lived in like 15 to 20 cities for like 3 months. Mm-hmm. And so I just got tired of traveling. So I was like, you know what, let me settle down somewhere. And so I've been in Memphis. I got my business. So I can't really just get up and move. So I just take traveling as me moving. So anytime I have an opportunity to get away, man, let's go and have some fun.
Where are you going to watch the game at Sunday?
I got my local watering hole here in Olive Branch. I mean, in South Haven, and we got a Saints group that get together every weekend and just get up there and watch football, and hopefully we can cheer it on and have a good time this weekend.
Yeah, you're usually around a lot of Cowboys fans, aren't you? I've talked to you.
You know what, man? The Cowboy fans, it just so happens you can't go anywhere, especially in the Memphis area, without Cowboy fans. I mean, for a team that haven't won in 20 years, man, you talking about a loyal fan base, man. They bring it all the time, man. But they'll get one day. I just hopefully this year be the Saints year.
Are you nervous about Sunday? How you feeling? What are we thinking going into this one?
I'm nervous because it's a playoff. I mean, it's one game and you're done. But I just feel like this is as healthy as a Saints team that we've had all year. Taking Kamara out because I just don't know how that deal is going to end. But outside of that, it just seems like everybody that we have, they're pretty much be playing this weekend. So it'll be pretty much the first time all year that we've been healthy. So right now's the time. If it don't happen this year, I got a feeling this is going to be Drew last year, which we've talked about. So it got to be this year or not. Let's send him off the right way.
Yeah, I'm going to need some advice here. They ask us to potentially get on camera and do a live show during Saints Bears on Sunday because, Neal's got like this. he's like this new money Bears fan. He calls himself a Bears fan. He doesn't care. Like, he's just kind of whatever, but that's the team he sort of kind of roots for. And they said, hey, can you get on camera? And I said, look, I don't mind doing it, but here's the deal. I'm going to get nervous. I'm going to get emotional. I'm going to be all over my computer and my phone. I don't know that it's going to be good watching unless the Bears make this thing close and I'm just losing my mind late. And I'm also superstitious. I got this problem. If I do it and they win, well, I'm going to want to damn do it every time the rest of the postseason. And do I really want to do that? So I don't know. I got to figure this thing out before Sunday.
Man, I tell you, Chase, man, I'm a little nervous during the season, but now in the playoffs, especially the last 3 years, how it been down to the end, and winning a Super Bowl is tough. And like I said, for me thinking this Drew last year, man, we got to get it done this year because you just never know when your chance is going to come again. And, hopefully this will be the year.
Do you think he's hanging it up either way at the end of the year?
Yeah, Chase, I think it's time. He had a good run. He signed a deal with NBC Sports. And I look at it now, his arm is not as strong as what it used to be. But I tell people he beat you mentally. Mm-hmm. But, sooner or later, man, you got to be able to go down the field. And, I talk to Ken Lucas all the time. And Ken Lucas, he just swear the Saints not going to win. He said, we don't have a chance. And the reason he said it because Drew can't expand the field. And he said defense can come up and play everything in front of you. So I hope he's wrong. We're going to argue about this until we can't argue anymore. But we'll see Saturday. That's the start of the playoffs. So we'll see.
That's what I was going to ask you. In your mind, do you think he has enough physical tools for them to make one more run?
I think he's so smart. Man, he get the ball out. And I tell you, man, from 20 yards in, you can't beat him. But anything over 20 yards is very suspect. Let me say that. But like I say, we got probably the best team that we've had overall. Mm-hmm. I think since he's been there. So, and then we got more weapons on offense than we've had. So even though he throwing it short, at least he's throwing to more people than Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara now with Sanders and Cook to tight end out there now.
Yeah, you and I talked about it right before we started. You, what are you thinking? Who's going to be the quarterback next year?
Man, Chase, I don't know. One thing that I do know, Taysom Hill is not a quarterback, and that's one good thing about this. In my opinion, it showed you that he's not. What they're going to do in the offseason, I don't know. I kind of think sometimes they're sitting on Jameis because the Saints cap situation is so screwed up because they owe Drew a lot of money. So it got me thinking that maybe they don't want to pay him a lot because if he would have went out there and played like Teddy, he would have got a bigger contract. The Saints can't afford to pay him, and then we're stuck with Taysom Hill. But then on the flip side, GMs in that league, man, they can find a way to make numbers work. Yeah. So if I could pick another one, I would say, man, let's trade for a Sam Darnold because I believe he's a good quarterback, just been caught up in a bad situation up there. If not, Matthew Stafford, they let him go. Maybe he want to come on down.
Yeah, I feel like Taysom. I feel like it's all year. You and I've texted a little bit about it. He, the ceiling's pretty low. He might get it done for a week, but you're not going through any playoff runs with Taysom Hill. You're just not.
Yeah, I think Taysom come in and bail you out for a couple of plays, but I don't want him to be in the 30 to 40, 50 plays a game.
To take the Saints' loyalty out of it, who else you like in the playoffs on both sides?
And that AFC side, man, that Buffalo and Kansas City, quite naturally, they're going to be strong. And I'm a Saints diehard, man, but I am so worried about going to Lambeau Field. But if you tell me right now, Ro, the Saints at Green Bay for the NFC, I'll take it because they'll at least let me know we've won 2 games. And then if you get down that Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, man, one day anything can happen.
Yeah, I think the Saints and the Rams are probably the biggest challenge for the Packers, in my opinion. Just kind of the way they play defense, the way they can control some lines of scrimmage. I think either one of them can give Green Bay problems.
Yeah, but the thing about it, Jared Goff, he had the thumb surgery. Yeah, and so I can't see him being that big of a factor coming away from that. I don't even know who they play in this weekend, but they better. Seattle, they'll be done this weekend. So they'll be done this weekend. Like I said, just going into it with that thumb like that, I just can't see him open up that field like that.
Yeah, I don't know. You and I probably neither one have had a thumb injury like that. But with whatever it is, just being a quarterback, would it be accentuated and be worse than being the cold weather like that if you're at Lambeau?
No doubt. And that's the scary part for a quarterback is every time you're throwing a ball, and you just hate to hit one of those lineman helmets because if you hit one of those helmets, you pretty much going to break something. And thank God I've never done it. Just think about just hitting it. Just think about the pain, even without breaking something. Man, they're probably going to shoot through your whole body.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that would happen to him, and you see the outcome of it.
Kind of last thing, Ole Miss is going to get Braylon Sanders back next year. They obviously signed some wide receivers. It's going to be somewhat of a retool room. You get Ely and Parrish back in the backfield. What do you sort of see from the Ole Miss skill guys going into 2021?
I look for them to be better next year than this year, just because you got a veteran quarterback coming back. And man, just like watching the NFL and watching these top quarterbacks, if you got a quarterback, man, they can make everybody else look a lot better. And I just feel like Matt's going to be one of those guys that's going to make everybody around him better. And he did it this year, and we'll see him do it again next year.
I appreciate it, bud. Let's get it Sunday, and we'll talk again.
All right, thank you, man. Have a good one.
You too.
That was Romero Miller with Chase Parham. We've been watching the scene in Washington, D.C., which is just nuts.
Nuts is the word. I mean,
we didn't have it on.
And
then I looked at Twitter during the your interview with Romero, and I just noticed some of the commentary, and I thought, that doesn't sound like it's just the Senate hearing or just the House hearing.
No. It was.
And sure enough, 2021 is trying to tell 2020.
Stop.
Told you.
The calendar change doesn't solve everything.
No,
I mean,
clearly. That's just it's a scene on television that if I had told you, if I didn't tell you what country it was, and you couldn't read the flags, you would guess that this was not America. You would guess this was Central America.
I'll be honest, like I'm shocked and I'm amazed in a lot of ways, but I don't really like what it says about me in some ways because I'm so desensitized to just stuff happening that I believe everything. It's hard to really amaze me right now. It's hard to make me go, oh my God. I go, damn it. It's more of just a sadness, just a sort of malaise where I go, hell, something else. I'm not shocked.
Well, that's a great point, because when I turned it on, even when I realized, as someone who's been to D.C. several times and has been to the Capitol several times, as I realized, because I told you, I said, where are they? And then I thought, they're up on top of the Capitol. I wasn't like, oh my God, I wasn't stunned after all that we've watched and seen. And that's the right word, I think, is desensitized. I think there is no shock value to anything anymore. We watch riots in the streets, and we watch protest, and just incessantly for the better part of a year on an everyday basis. And when this happens, as reprehensible and disgusting as it is, and it absolutely is, there is not a ton of shock. And for the people who are claiming to be shocked out there, I'm not disputing you, but I'm kind of like, well, where have you been?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to sit here and watch it instead of talking to you guys.
I'll move on.
I just kind of get a little speechless. I find myself just sort of hypnotized by it a little bit right now. Just walking through the middle of the Capitol.
Well, Campbell asked in a text, she said, I don't understand, how did they get there? And I said, I guess just by sheer numbers, they overwhelmed them. And the Capitol Police had a decision to make. You either yield or you open fire, which would be not a great idea at this point either, because it doesn't appear that at this point, from what I can see. At this point,
you're sealing certain entrances and just hoping it runs through the middle of the building and out the other side.
It doesn't appear that they're intent on being, when I say destructive, I'm not minimizing what they're doing. Please don't misunderstand. But it doesn't appear that they're lighting fires or
to this point, no physical damage has been done that we're aware of.
Right. People are not carrying arms and billy clubs and stuff and breaking the windows of the Capitol or destroying the inside of the Capitol.
Yeah.
I guess it's just,
again, that we're aware of.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be. I don't see flames shooting up anywhere or anything like that. So,
podcast brought to you in part by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com/events. Go to the events page, find out more about the Oxford Fiber Arts Festival. We'll bring more to you about that as well in the next week or so. January 15th to 23rd for that. Virtual MLK Day celebration January 15th, and the 2021 Ole Miss Baseball Ladies Forum January 30th, 9 to 2 o'clock on that one. Cannon Motors still doing their drive-in movies throughout the month of January. You can find out all the times and different availabilities at oxfordfilmfest.com. They're doing Shrek. They're doing Animal House. They're doing A Time to Kill, a lot of different things over the course of the month of January with Visit Oxford and the Oxford Film Festival. Again, that's visitoxfordms.com/events.
We're also brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. The College Corner is next to Fleet Feet in Ridgeland. It's next to Half Shell in Flowood. If you don't live in Jackson, check them out at collegecornerstore.com. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Again, collegecornerstore.com. We are also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. What Pinnacle Trust does is they sit down with you. They listen to your goals. They listen to what you want to do in retirement, how you want to live in retirement. You want to travel, or you just hanging out at home? What are you wanting to do? And then they put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that's built just for you. It's pintrust.com, P-I-N-N trust.com. We're also brought to you by our friend John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about maybe booking some sort of a getaway for the summer, banking on the vaccines and such, now's a really good time to start planning that. There's a lot of travel deals that are super affordable right now, that rates that probably won't exist in April or May, June. So get in touch with John, give him a budget, give him some parameters, give him some ideas, and then sit back and do nothing. He'll come up with detailed travel plans that you will, including deals and specials that you would not be able to find on your own. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, j.edwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. And we're brought to you by our friends at Blue Delta Jeans. Blue Delta Jeans, BlueDeltaJeans.com. Hop in their Instagram, their Twitter, and set up a private fitting. It'd be a great Valentine's Day present. Great product, from the duck canvas to the denim to the camouflage to the corduroys and more. It's all
straight cut, boot cut, whatever you'd like.
Yep, all of that at Blue Delta Jeans, BlueDeltaJeans.com.
Oh man, I just wrote this in passing. You think we ever get a regression back to more smash mouth football, or is this where this is headed now?
I don't think so.
You don't think somebody goes, hey, the defenses are getting smaller and faster and trying to keep up with passing games, and they go, hey, if we run the eye. And then suddenly we start.
The game has sort of been legislated away from that type of physicality. I would be concerned if I became this downhill attack team that I would get a lot of targeting calls with offensive linemen, with receivers blocking downfield, with fullback lowering his head.
Oh.
Where I'm losing guys. Guys are
so?
getting kicked out of games. It's the first kind of thought that comes to mind. I haven't sat down and really deliberated it. Most things are cyclical, which would tell you that we would get back to that place. I think we're certainly hoping that our country is cyclical right now, but you would think that football is cyclical, but I don't.
And legislation as far as passing teams have so many advantages down the field.
I'll tell you the game that comes to mind when you say that, because I was trying to think, what was it that you saw? It was New Year's Day. I was taking ornaments off the Christmas tree, and I was watching Georgia and Cincinnati.
Sure.
And Cincinnati's tackle got intertwined with a Georgia linebacker DB type person.
Okay.
And he kind of lowered his head.
Okay.
And he got kicked out. And I remember thinking to myself as I'm taking ornaments off the tree, that's why you don't want your linemen going downfield hunting. Because if they drop a head, it's a targeting call. And you're trying to...
Because it can be on anyone, so yeah.
Sure, you're trying to legislate safety into the game. So I don't know that would be the style you'd want to play. I think you're wanting to play 7-on-7 style. You're certainly teaching DBs not to do that. So if you're going to play that kind of game, you're going to have to really refine offensive line play.
Yeah. And frankly, I mean, I guess you could to some extent, but you almost get into a basketball conversation of, can you run certain offenses? Could you recruit to it nonstop? Would you almost become like this triple option kind of gimmick team because you've just become more balanced and more two tight ends, hey, hand on ground? Like in 5 to 10 years, if not even now, how many tight ends in high school are going to be, hey,
here's the answer.
Hand in the ground and go?
The only way it happens at the college game is if somebody decides to do it at the NFL level and it works.
Down instead of up.
Yeah, I think.
Because the only thing that really went up was like the Wildcat formation a little bit there for a while. Just kind of thinking out the top of my head.
I mean, look around the country. Just look at the SEC level. What are all these offenses telling kids? We put guys in the NFL. We run a system that's very similar to what you see on Sunday.
And finding ways to be tempo, to be spread, but still be balanced. I mean, you're still running the football.
Sure.
Ole Miss ran the football.
Sure, of course.
Jerry Neal ran for 745 yards in 9 games. I mean, it's.
Yeah, Grind makes the point. Georgia's still somewhat smash mouth in the league. That's still sort of their identity. Kind of pro-style smash mouth.
The most of any of the better programs.
Alabama's pretty balanced in that regard. I mean, Sarkisian's offense, Najee got his. And that offensive line was pretty physical.
Mm-hmm. He ended up finishing 5th, by the way. Najee Harris. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Trevor Lawrence finished 2nd.
Which was a surprise to me.
Yeah. Well, he got more first-place votes than Mac. He was kind of it wasn't necessarily regional, but he benefited from being out of the Alabama footprint.
Yeah.
Where some people over there goes, hey, best player, you're not going to punish him for not playing the 2 games or whatever because of COVID, and here he goes and he gets this. I think there was some of that.
I saw where Eric Edholm's first, not full mock draft, but he had the first 5 picks mocked out. And he had Lawrence going 1. The kid from BYU going 2, whose name escapes
Zach
me
Wilson.
right now. Thank you. And he had Fields going 4. He had Jamar Chase, who opted out of LSU.
Yeah.
He had him going 3, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's Eric Gilbert going?
I think it's Georgia.
Really?
Yeah.
NFL, we obviously have talked tons of Saints Bears. Are you locked in on pretty much every game? Where's sort of your watchability this weekend over the course of, wild card weekend is typically only second to divisional weekend for like kind of the best weekend of football there
Next
is.
weekend's the best weekend of football.
Especially because it's
because you get the good teams.
Yeah. Because that's the one thing. I mean, half the dang league pretty much made the playoffs.
Well, there's a real chance that this weekend does not include the 2 teams that are going to the Super Bowl.
Okay, go ahead.
I know, but I mean,
yeah, no, I know. I mean,
if
I
the
get
football gods came down and told you, "Hey, it's Packers Chiefs,"
but less than typical for a wild card weekend because it's only 1 bye, not 2, obviously.
Right, which is good. You have to throw the games at me, and I'll give you a watchable number 1 to 10.
Yeah, sure. Where are you for the national title on watchable?
Okay, so I have a hot take here.
Sure.
I normally wouldn't give a damn.
You didn't seem to give a damn the other day when we talked about it.
The Big Ten stance lately, with even trying to pull this Ohio State needs another week, kind of bugs me. I'm now really hoping Alabama smokes them. And I'm normally not the person that gets that into it.
Okay.
And in a normal day, I'd almost be kind of cheering against Alabama just to watch the meltdown next door.
Sure. Oh, look, Bama losses and head on over to the message boards and, hey, pop some popcorn. I mean, look, Ohio State wins the game on Saturday or Monday. Go ahead and head over to Tighter Insider and open up the threads and see what happens. Watch the dogs be kicked in real time.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll go all night.
Well, like Kristen Saban, and she has another last name now. I think she's married, but whatever. Yesterday, she comes out and says her true feelings, and then a little while later says, "I'm sorry, I was emotional." I said, no, you said what you thought. I mean, it's okay. You said they're using COVID as an excuse to give Fields another week, which is quite frankly what I thought too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Get the ribs a little better?
Yeah, and if I'm Alabama, I don't want to wait another week. The season's been long enough. Let's play the game. Play the game.
That gives Waddle another week.
It does.
If he's playing, I have no idea if he's playing or not.
It does. It's time to play the game. It's been a long season. Guys have been on campus since
I guess that's
June
true. Like, even
8th.
from a watching standpoint, we just need this thing to be played and be over. It does feel like time.
It is time. Play the game.
All right, I had the schedule up. Indianapolis at Buffalo. I'm all in on the Bills being fun, so this is a pretty high watchability for me. I don't love the Colts; they kind of bore me for the most part, but this is a 7.
I'd give it an 8 because I want to watch Buffalo in a playoff game.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm all in on Buffalo. They're fun to me.
Yeah, they're going to let some fans in the stands, which is good. Yeah,
okay. Rams Seahawks.
Well, because they despise one another.
It's really high.
It's really high. I wish
if
golf were
was healthy and playing, then okay, maybe.
But the level of hatred among each other makes this potential. Like, if you told me middle of third quarter, this is 17-14, I'm in. Pop the corn.
Because somebody's going to throw a punch before the game's over.
Get a decent chance.
Because it's legitimate hate, and maybe the most hate in the league at this point. Is Rams Seahawks your
I'd have to really think about it, but it's way up there. Giants Eagles are going to be a little testy this year coming up.
Steelers have kind of been in it with some people before, but Steelers Ravens is up there a little bit. They used to kind of go at one another.
But it's more of a begrudging, wish you'd get out of the way kind of a thing. As more than it's just pure, feels like hate. It's more of a, God, it's you again feeling.
Frankly, Sean Payton makes Saints-Falcons pretty high.
He does.
If he's not bashful.
Frankly, the Falcons haven't been good enough consistently to make that game what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Much to your pleasure.
Because it's been fairly dominant since the Super Bowl year for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rivalry, but a rivalry's not a rivalry if one team's just getting bombed.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Let's see. Tampa Bay, Washington. Bucks, Redskins.
That's not particularly watchable. That's about a 4.
This is only watchable because it's an NFL playoff game. I mean, it's that, and it's, I guess you watch. I mean, if you had to go, okay, what is the storyline? It's whatever. I'd love to see Alex Smith win a game if they were close late. Sure. But, like, Tom Brady in Tampa does nothing for me as far as an interest level standpoint, at least against the Redskins.
Because it doesn't feel like Brady's going to walk away at the end of this year.
I mean, I'm going to cheer like hell for the Redskins for a little while, but, I mean, that's kind of it as far as that goes.
Yeah, so Ole Miss plays at 5. I'll finish my work around 8:30. A decent chance I turn straight to Iron Chef America.
Don't even.
Yeah, there's a decent chance I look at the score, and it's like 21-7, and I'm like,
Good job, Tampa. Moving on.
Let's watch a 12-year-old edition of Iron Chef America.
12-year-old is in 12 years old or a 12-year-old cooking?
No, 12 years old. Like when they did it like in 2010.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I love that
Is Iron
show.
Chef America still a thing?
They show replays on Saturday nights on the cooking channel.
It hasn't come back. That's what I'm asking.
No, it should because it's a great show.
Did you like the American version or the Japanese version better?
Both.
You're okay?
But I prefer the American version because I understand the language.
And it's not dubbed where they're saying all these things that aren't actually what they're really saying.
But I like the show.
If you had to go on, but you got to pick your ingredient, what are you picking?
It would have to be
something very basic.
Right? It would have to be something like a skirt steak. I would know how to make skirt steak in a lot of different ways. I mean, if you threw like...
You could do 5 courses with skirt steak?
I think I could. Pigeon eggs! I'd be like, I'm done. Bye. See
What
ya.
dessert are you doing for skirt steak?
I'd have to really think about it. Something caramely? I don't know. I have to think about it.
Throw in some ice cream?
No, but you could do something. Some sort of a jerky with a syrup, a maple syrup.
That or something so easy that you could just make sure you could find 5 things, like a fruit. Like, give me an apple or a pear or a banana or something, and I'll I'll do something.
Because you're pairing it with meats and
yeah. I can do an appetizer with a salad. I can do a dessert, and I can do something with it. I can do I don't know. We'll figure it out. Which I've read is, how long do they actually get? They get 30 minutes?
Yeah, because right? You don't get a lot of time.
But you have to have a grocery list, though. So there's...
Well, I think you have 1 hour to cook.
No, that's true. I know that part. But how long head start do you, when you know your ingredient?
I don't know.
Because it's not instantaneous.
No. Because otherwise that would never work. They probably go get 30 minutes to plan. The other thing I've heard is that the day or two before, you're given a number of options.
So you already can...
So you're starting to think, okay, if it's this is what I'm going to do. If it's this is what I'm going to do. They have a plan. Otherwise, it wouldn't be very good television. It would be so chaotic.
I'm not 100% sure anyone's actually following us.
I don't blame them. Who have guns, armed standoff at door of house chamber? Well, that's not good.
Anyway.
Anybody want to join me in my common sense party anytime soon? I keep waiting for the average American to agree that the two extremes have jumped the shark.
I've had hope that when Trump's out of office, it gets better. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Noon on Sunday, Ravens-Titans.
Oh, I'm in.
The Titans are really fun, but I don't know how compelled I am to just be sitting down locked in on it.
Either way in this game, I can be happy. If the Titans win, I kind of like the Titans.
Yeah.
I like AJ. I like Tannehill.
Yeah, sure.
And I like Lamar Jackson. Yeah. And so if the Ravens win, I'm happy for Lamar Jackson that he gets a win, because when people do he's a terrible playoff quarterback, I'm like, shut up. I hate that. That feels unfair to me.
Our average fan in Dubuque, Bears Saints. They've got to be proven it's going to be a game because it has a Bucs-Redskins feel to it.
Yeah, it's a 5.
Yeah. If you don't have a interest.
It's the one that if you tell the average guy in Dubuque, middle of the third quarter, hey, guess what, man? It's 20-17 Bears. He's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because the Saints do this to themselves. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in, yeah.
Saints play crazy playoff games. Let's see what happens.
If the game gets close, it's house money for the Bears.
Yeah, sure. Are the Saints...
Because, they're got tee times for Tuesday already booked.
Are the Saints disliked enough nationally to have more people watch them?
I don't think so, but they've become a pretty household name team, and Breeze is a big name, and people...
You get your last season of him, potentially.
People get a kick out of Peyton, I think, nationally, and, they've found ways to bomb games. And so people are interested. Like, are they going to do it again? But no, if that game goes the way it probably goes, that's not particularly watchable. Most people are finding 60 minutes in the third quarter.
Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Not really.
Cleveland has to prove it.
Cleveland's a neat little story, but they've got to make the game fun. I think people like Baker Mayfield, or like to say they don't like Baker Mayfield, but deep down kind of do like Baker Mayfield. And Pittsburgh has this massive fan following. I don't think people who don't follow the NFL closely understand Pittsburgh has this massive following all over the country. So
yeah, they're Red Sox, Yankees kind of stuff for football.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Steelers.
Yeah. When I was a kid, man, when those two teams played in the Super Bowl, it was you stopped. I remember those games. You stopped. Roger Staubach, and before your time, Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swann, Drew Pearson, Tony Dorsett, Franco Harris. It was big.
I don't remember much before. Frank, from a Cowboys standpoint, I really have no recollection of much before like Aikman and those guys. Because, the Cowboys' first Super Bowl was in 92. I was 9 years old.
Yeah, I've told the story. The game that the first NFL game that just completely resonated with me was 49ers Cowboys, that NFC title game. The day I turned 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
and Dwight Clark and the catch and Montana and this young 49er team that ended up dominating for a decade. You know, the Cowboys, that was their kind of last stand. Nobody knew it at the time. That was the day their window shut, and nobody thought their window was shutting because I think everybody thought they were going to go win that game, go beat the Bengals, and win another Super Bowl. And that's not how it worked.
Torch passed.
Well, the torch got passed, and then I think the Redskins got really good. The Bears had that dominant team in '85 that won. And the window closes. That's the lesson for
Everybody.
Green Bay, for Kansas City, for all these teams that think, man, the window's, oh, God, shots fired in the Capitol. This is just insane. I know this isn't a good podcast. I'm sorry. This is nuts. I wish they'd go back to that shot. I was trying to get a mental picture of where that was.
Yeah, I'm seeing pictures on Twitter of guns drawn from multiple rooms and all kind of stuff. It appears to be across multiple.
Guns drawn by the police or by the protesters also?
I saw only either like Secret Service members or like suited people as I was seeing photos. But again, for anybody out there, we have no sound. Obviously, we're talking to each other, so we don't have sound of this. But
yeah.
While we're watching, I'll tell you the podcast is brought to you part by G&M Pharmacy and Tyson Drugs. G&M right there on South Lamar in Oxford. 662-236-2222. They offer immune support med packs. Pharmacists deliver combinations of vitamins and supplements designed to boost your immune system and lung health. 30-day supplies of vitamin C, zinc, NAC, probiotic, and vitamin D3. They deliver locally in the Oxford area. And they offer MedSync to fill your prescriptions the same day each month to take care of you, whether it's one trip for delivery or a pickup there at the pharmacy. Again, 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB also has a commercial checking account, now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. It comes with fully interactive online banking. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxford, bankoxford.com, or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. We're also brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573, 662-842-3844. She sponsors my mailbag, which is up at rebelgrove.com. Also brought to you by Bain, Moss & Bowen. They're located in historic downtown Corinth. Their firm practices a wider range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss & Bowen is the only firm in Mississippi that's made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard, and you can tap into it by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth, or by calling them at 662-287-1620. Would also like to welcome another couple of advertisers to the show. We'll be telling you more about these guys over the coming weeks, months. One is Muddy Water Outdoors. You can go to muddywateroutdoors.com. They've got these incredible, I don't know if you've seen these heated jackets and vests and stuff. It's got this little battery thing that puts in.
Like an electric blanket, but it's a jacket.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Got all sorts of fishing gear, hunting gear, all that stuff. So check them out at muddywateroutdoors.com. We'll be telling you a lot more about them over time. You can check them out on the web. We'll be bringing you some promo codes, that kind of thing, camo stuff, non-camo stuff, really cool stuff, even whether you're a hunter or not. If you're just someone who sits in stadiums and gets cold, something to check out.
I didn't really think about it from that standpoint, yeah.
I mean, I'm not a hunter, and that jacket was awesome the other day when I was freezing. We're also brought to you by Lammons Fine Jewelry. Lammons right here in downtown Oxford, 662-234-2777. Obviously, it's Valentine's Day coming up. You ought to check them out. Free estimates, in-house repairs. They've been around more than 73 years. We used Lammons this Christmas for the girls. Laura had her grandmother's charm bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been sitting in Laura's bedside table for years. And we found some charms on it, including her grandmother's Kyo pin.
Okay.
Took it off, got it cleaned up, made it a necklace for Campbell. I think it's one of Campbell's favorite things in the world now. So they can do things like that for you as well. They're at Lammon's. It's lammonsfinejewelry.com, 662-234-2777.
They're back to guns drawn. I haven't seen anything else as far as
On the House floor.
Yeah.
On the floor of the House of Representatives. This is not how you protest an election. That even if you think the election was stolen, this is not how you protest that. You want to gather and have a peaceful protest? I've been consistent on this. Have a peaceful protest. That's a First Amendment right. But when you invade the Capitol building, you're no longer protesting. You are at a minimum disturbing the peace, at an absolute minimum. Frankly, you're putting the nation's security at risk.
Oh no, you're quickly becoming a terrorist.
You want to gather in the National Mall and protest? I have no problem with that. We've done that for years. It's a First Amendment right. These pictures of security with revolvers drawn on the floor of the House of Representatives in the United States Capitol. This, no matter who you're for or what you think, this should lend you pause.
It's despicable.
This should lend you pause. Is that windows knocked out? Appears to be.
Was there glass on the outside of it?
Well, it appears that they're looking through holes in glass.
Browns say today they're full speed, no positive test.
Oh, good.
So Cleveland, Pittsburgh on Sunday night.
Including the coach?
Oh, I think he's positive, but I think player-wise, I think.
Gotcha.
I'm not 100%. I didn't click the link, but that was the way I interpreted it. Trevor Lawrence declares for the draft. I know we're all shocked.
Oh, he's not coming back to Clemson for another?
Apparently not.
I'd question his sanity.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be like, come on, Trevor.
No, he's not, hey, they lost in the semifinal. He's not finished yet. Not done.
No.
We got a lot more to do.
He's like, I'm done enough. I don't know if the job's done, but it's close enough to done.
He's going to get so much money in endorsements.
Oh, yeah.
Just
the hair and all of it.
Been the most recognizable player for 4 years.
He seems like a genuinely decent person.
Didn't he get engaged like a couple months ago?
Yeah.
Thought so. Just crazy. Who'd you vote third?
Trask.
You voted Trask third?
Yeah. Because I voted the day after the SEC championship game, and I thought he played really well against Alabama.
What was the deadline?
That Monday.
So you get conference championship games count, bowl games don't?
Correct.
Okay. From a timing standpoint.
I think it was Monday the 21st at noon or something like that. Your ballot had to be in. I just went ahead and did mine on Sunday afternoon.
Is it online?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to go through some little security things. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's done well.
Twitter just...
God, I know exactly what you're saying. He went about it wrong, but he wasn't. Ryan says the Unabomber has a point, is all I'm saying. Went about it wrong, but he was spot on about technology.
I still refuse to watch that documentary.
It's a hard watch. It's really fascinating.
I'm sure, but
it's really fascinating. You think about his brother, the just heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching moment where you realize your brother is almost certainly the Unabomber. Mm-hmm. Now what do I do? Because you love your brother. So many warning signs. Not of that necessarily, but like He was a genius,
Mm-hmm.
and they sent him off to Harvard 2 years early. And there were people in his life at the school that told the parents he doesn't need to go to Harvard. He's not socially ready for Harvard. But the father was so angry at that assertion that he wasn't, that their son wasn't good enough for Harvard, that he was like, no, he's going to, by God, go. And he just couldn't, socially, he couldn't handle it.
The one bit of coaching news in the last day or so inside the conference that sort of kind of matters to Ole Miss people. LSU has hired Jake Peets as their offensive coordinator. He was the quarterback's coach of the Panthers, essentially a Joe Brady disciple at this point. So they've gone back to the Brady well to find their next offensive coordinator.
I do think that's a smart move on Ed's part. Look at that.
Yeah.
What in the?
It just I'm not really sure what we're looking at, to be honest. I guess the head of the House chamber.
Yeah, that was someone sitting in the House chair, I suppose.
That was my interpretation there. Yeah, we've been with you guys. We're frankly distracted, and you're kind of distracted at this point, too. We're watching, in a sad way, we're watching history unfold right now on television and the internet and everywhere else.
Well, that's positive, no doubt about that.
The pictures that we're seeing will be the ones that end up in textbooks.
I'll say this. You're going to hear a lot of talk in the next 2 weeks because a new president's coming in about unifying and unity, and that's going to require a real effort.
Yeah.
It's going to require a real effort. You and I talked about this one day, or maybe it was me and Jeffrey, or maybe it was all of us. And I said, the one thing that gets lost in all of this, and don't get me wrong, this isn't me in any shape, form, or fashion defending this. I think everybody that's inside that building should be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That's the only way that the only way you get those messages across is that. But when that many people vote for someone and there's any sense at all that it was unfair or anything, you can't ignore them. You have to figure out a way to communicate with them, and that's not where we are. And they're demanding to be heard in much the way that this summer people demanded to be heard. And I'm not comparing the two at all. I'm just simply saying the results can be the same if you're not careful. I'm not making excuses for it, Doors. I just said everyone should be arrested. Not the people who are standing in the mall protesting with flags. That's fine. That's
anyone near the Capitol.
That's First Amendment stuff. I support that fully. In the same way that you want to march in protest of something, that's the First Amendment. The First Amendment is for all Americans, whether you agree with them or not. But when you when you climb up onto those steps, when you climb up onto the building, when you go inside the building, uninvited, unwelcomed, you're trespassing at a minimum, disturbing the peace, whatever, you should be arrested.
We will talk to you again soon. Appreciate everybody in the stream. Appreciate Romero Miller for giving us a little bit of time today as well. Hope y'all have a wonderful afternoon. Check rebelgrove.com in the meantime. Basketball tonight. Ole Miss and Auburn, 8 o'clock tip tonight in that one, SEC Network. So Rebels trying to win their first SEC game of the season. We will talk to you again very, very soon.